got a couple of miscellaneous questions, then we'll transition over to the write-ins, and then we'll give you a quick minute to finish it out. So, first miscellaneous question. Would you be for or against plans to add more EV charging stations on the island?
I think the EV charging stations have been provided to us so far by Brunswick Electric, so it's not really our expense, but it does take up our parking spaces. I think that needs to be, to answer that question, I think really needs to be monitored how much they're being used and who they're being used by, because those of us that live here, we kind of have a charging station at our house, don't need to use the ones in any public parking spaces, taking away some precious public parking spaces. So I'd be willing to listen to arguments in favor of that, but if I was asked to make that decision right here, right now, this moment, I would say I would not support that because each of the people I serve have a charging station at their home.
And final thought from this list, what are your thoughts on having recycling every week, year-round?
I personally would be in favor of that because at my house, 2 weeks and the recycle container is overfilled. And then if we get a little bit of wind, I'm out in my yard, picking up the recycled material, putting it back in the container and hope it doesn't blow out again. There's an expense, a fairly large expense, with adding an extra pickup of the recycling. So I think everybody, before we make this decision, everybody needs to be aware of what the expense is, the cost, versus the benefit of having that second pickup.
Huh? Yeah. No, this one's not a question. You're actually in luck on this one. So this is a statement rather than a question, as it is written. I would like to commend Mark for resigning from the POA when told it was a conflict. Mark has worked with the town for decades. His dedication to the town of OIB is beyond reproach. His honesty and love for OIB, it shows in all he has done. He will make an outstanding candidate.
Read that again, please.
Yeah.
How'd you like that?
Thank you.
So this is a question. You address commercial activity on the west end of the island. What property exactly is zoned for business other than what is now Le Volte? And hasn't that been there longer than most of us?
That facility has been there longer than most of us. And you might make a liar out of me here, but my understanding is a lot of the undeveloped area on the west end beyond Beaufort access that we call the desert area, I believe a chunk of that is zoned as commercial as well, or could be used for commercial purposes. And that was what I was referring to earlier as a potential commercial area on the west end.
So you said it's up to the homeowner with respect to risk tolerance. What do you think is appropriate expense to be absorbed by the taxpayers to deal with the consequences of homes being lost to storms or damage? Our town employees spend time and resources with traffic control, water mitigation, police services, etc. when loss occurs. Is this acceptable?
The first part of that question.
Yeah. So you said it's up to homeowners with respect to risk tolerance. I think that was mainly in the hazard area. What do you think is appropriate expense to be absorbed by the taxpayers to deal with the consequences of homes being lost? Due to storms. Sorry.
Yeah. If we have debris on the beach that would get washed into the water or be a problem for beachgoers, people playing on the beach, people walking on the beach, people enjoying the beach, then I think, unfortunately, I think that would be something that we would put town staff to work to remove from the beach. By contrast, I don't think it's acceptable to spend any money, any amount of money, of public money to protect private property. That goes back to risk tolerance, and you took the risk, you have to accept the consequences of it. There will be times, and there have been times, where police officers are needed to block off an area or control access to an area. And on a temporary basis, that's a solution that we have to use. That's what they are here for. That's what our police department does, at times, temporary basis. Did I hit all those points?
Yeah. So if you received a grant with no strings attached, what would you do? Guess it depends on price, too.
Great. I'm gonna take the easy way out here again. What are the wishes of the people I serve? What are the wishes of the residents here? What do we want? What do we need? We have this much money. Where does that money need to go? Because at the end, my job is to listen to you folks, what your goals, what your priorities are, and try to stand up for those things and make them happen.
If the budget were to allow it, what would be your viewpoint on building a community center/senior center off the island?
I'd be in favor of that. If we could not find a way to improve the current community center to a point where we are all happy with it and use it and don't find it lacking in what we would want to use it for, then building another community center would be appropriate, but it would certainly need to be off island for reasons I spoke about earlier, to not draw other outside groups onto the island, across the bridge, add to the traffic, add to the congestion. But to go back to this, I think the first priority would be to upgrade the current community center.
Right. So we've got another write-in here. During the last couple of years, the town has allowed the residents and visitors to use the green space where the old town hall was located for emergency parking of cars and golf carts during hurricanes, king tides, and other times of flooding across the island. The same space is used for the town markets that are done during the summer and other holidays. The same space is used for parking during the summer concert series. It is an invaluable green space that is multifunctional as it is. A new proposed community center was planned for this space and would have eliminated its use as a green space. The community center was voted down by our current town board of commissioners. What would you plan to do with this green space going forward? What other green spaces would you like to see preserved on the island? If the green space where the old town hall is developed, what solution would you propose for emergency parking of cars and golf carts during high tides, hurricanes, and other times of flooding?
The market is very popular, and it's appropriate to have it there. Concerts are very popular. It's appropriate to have parking there as well. But when we get king tide events like we're going through now, when we have flooding from storm surge forecast, from hurricanes and tropical storms that come through here, that space being open for golf carts and vehicles to park there is priceless and precious. And I don't think any other use would be more important to us than to leave it green now and be able to use it for that emergency parking. It keeps it on this side of the bridge, it keeps it high, it has our police force able to protect what they can of it, and I would not want to see anything built there to intrude on that space. I don't think there's anything that would be more important than what we use it for now.
Under your tenure as president of the POA, the original bylaws were changed 5 years ago to exclude the mayor or any town of employees or elected officials from the POA or board of directors, or the POA board of directors. Did this not apply to you when you filed for commissioner? You didn't resign until almost 2 months after you had already filed.
I think the bylaw change specified serving as a town employee or as a town elected official. I don't even think it's gray. Until I'm voted into office or until someone is voted into office, they don't fall under active service or active employment. So no, I don't believe it was a conflict at that point based on what the verbiage of the bylaws.
Do you support putting warning flags showing riptide and surf warnings on the beach access?
Absolutely. Yes, I think that's an expectation these days. I think years ago it may have been an exception. I hear from quite a few people, and I hate to use that expression going back to what the previous question was, but a lot of people come here expecting to see that and wonder why we wouldn't have it. So I think it's an expectation now, not an exception. So yeah, I support that definitely.
Well, with that last one, that's all that we've received, or y'all have received, both from the emails and from the write-ins at this point. So Mark, with everybody here, the final question I'm gonna ask you, and feel free, what's the main thing that you want anyone thinking about voting for you or going forward? What do you want the takeaway that they get from tonight to be about your candidacy for this position?
If I'm allowed to serve as your commissioner, my job is to listen to you and make what you want to happen, happen. I think I've lived that the last 14 years, sending my phone number to every owner on Ocean Isle Beach, and that will continue. Thank you for being here this evening.